Oh, hi, folks. Let's get a little closer here. Hi, it's Brad, and in the past couple of days, I got 2 emails about people asking me about satisfaction and fulfillment. So I thought I'd do a little video about that. It's an interesting question in terms of Zen practice, because I think one of the things that we practice with most with Zazen and with any sort of Zen training or whatever you call it is dissatisfaction. The original teachings of Buddha, the very first thing he's reported to have said in his capacity as the Buddha, is all life is suffering. But actually, a better translation of that is all life is dissatisfaction, because the word dukkha is less strong than suffering. It's more like dissatisfaction. It's more like, oh, I don't like this. So the Buddha was practicing with dissatisfaction, going all the way from intense suffering like disease or war or famine or death and all that stuff to just being like, ugh, I hate this. And I think what he learned and what he tried to teach is how to practice with that. There's a lot of mythology in our contemporary culture about fulfillment and about satisfaction. And I think when it comes to spirituality, it gets really mixed up and muddled, because there's this idea that there is going to be a state of ultimate satisfaction, of ultimate fulfillment. And sometimes it's called enlightenment or awakening, or, there's a bunch of words for it. And every time one word gets used too much, we move on to the next word and try that one for a while. But the idea is that you're going to have ultimate satisfaction. Like, yeah. It never happens. And our training is to watch dissatisfaction moment by moment, to watch suffering, if you want to use that word, if you want to go that far, moment by moment, and just see it happen, see it arise, see where it comes from, see what it is. And it's always a matter of comparison. So you compare what you think should be happening to what really is happening, or what you think you deserve to what you really got, what you think could happen if things were different to what happened the way things are now. In my own life, I've tried to deal with this, and it's been really useful. Everything that you get, everything that you have that seems fulfilling for a moment will eventually go away. I told a story in my book Hardcore Zen about getting the job at Tsuburaya Productions, the makers of Ultraman. And I was such a huge geek for Ultraman. I know you guys think it's stupid for me to be such an Ultraman geek, but I love that show. And getting a job there was the fulfillment of a dream I thought was so impossible that I might as well not even think about it. Even when I wrote the letter that it eventually got me the job to Noboru Tsuburaya, who was then the president of the company, I didn't expect anything to come from it. And when it did, I thought, oh my God, everything is fulfilled. I'd been doing Zen practice for over 10 years by then, and I still was seduced by this idea of ultimate satisfaction finally being attainable. And of course it wasn't. It turned into a job. It was a good job. I liked it. I liked the people I worked for. I liked what I did. But there were conflicts. There were things that didn't work out quite the way I wanted them to. There were things that worked out absolutely not the way I wanted them to. There's all sorts of things. And so I had this visceral, I guess, I use that word too much, but this kind of bodily, deep understanding of like, oh, this is dissatisfaction. And even when I went through the Zen practice, and I talked about also in Hardcore Zen, that little moment of walking across the bridge and kind of getting this moment that some commenter called kensho. I never would use that word for it, but it was a so-called enlightenment experience. And that seemed to like knock everything out of the park for a little while, and then I found myself going, oh, why isn't it happening again? Why isn't it always like that? Why can't life just be like that 24/7? And getting deeply sad about that. It was like you had a date with God, and then God said, "Oh, sorry, I'm breaking up with you," and you're like, "Oh, what?" It was really heavy. And everything that I've had has been like that. That's been great. It's a momentary thing. You have this sort of burst of like, yay, and then, for me it's buying records or buying books. I'll just go in and do that, and it's like, yay, I got that book. And then, of course, a day or two later, it's like, oh, when am I going to get another book or another record or something? And records and books are cheap, by the way, so it's like a cheap source of instant gratification. And you can see how hoarders and things like that happen, because if you think, oh, well, that's satisfaction, buying things, I can just keep buying things and buying things and buying things, but you'll never buy the ultimate thing. It'll never happen. So what we do is we practice with the dissatisfaction. We look at the dissatisfaction. We're not trying to aim for ultimate satisfaction over there somewhere. We're trying to see dissatisfaction for what it really is. And most of the time, at least in my own case, it's not that bad. Things are okay most of the time. There are some horrible times, and I could tell you about those, and I've had them too, and I'll probably have some again in my life. But most of my life, most of the time, things are okay. It's just, it might not be what I want. I might not be a rock star. Zero Defects didn't become, I don't know who we would have become, like Faith No More or something. Sometimes I sit around pondering the possibilities of Zero Defects having stayed together and become something like that. It's one of these sort of, or Bad Religion, or one of these, or Black Flag, or Misfits, one of these hardcore bands you still hear about from that era. There was a time when we were playing with the Misfits, and we were playing with Black Flag, and we were playing with the Meat Puppets, and we even played with Moby when Moby was in, what the hell was the name of that band? Vatican Commandos. He was in Vatican Commandos, and we played with Moby. So, it could have gone anywhere, but it didn't, and it became this. It's not exactly what I would have wanted, but it's okay, and learning to be okay with what's okay has been really valuable. So that's dissatisfaction. There's not really much to say. Just stay with it. Stay with your state of being unsatisfied and look at it. Don't judge it. Don't compare it. Don't say, oh yeah, I'm this and it's right. But just actually stay with it and silently watch it happen. Watch your dissatisfaction happen and see where that goes. And that, to me, has been the greatest value I've ever found in this practice. So, Unsatisfied. And if you want to satisfy me, oh, look at that segue. There are links below to Patreon and PayPal links where you can send me donations. I really appreciate it. It is my major source of income, is the donations I get from you. Not books, not public speaking appearances, but these donations I get from you. So thanks a lot. Also, the Angel City Zen Center wants your donations. Remember, donations to them don't go to me, so I prefer you didn't switch over, but I do want you to support them. If you got anything to send their way, I really appreciate it, and they will really appreciate it, and we'll keep going on. Thanks a lot. See you, bye. Get satisfied.